Hello everyone, this is Lean and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm sharing a birthday card using a digital stamp from Rachelle Anne Miller. Now this one is called Paper Plane and I just love this digital stamp. I used it in the past already and that video was shared on the Rachelle Anne Miller YouTube channel. So if you want to have some more inspiration and you didn't see it yet, then definitely check it out. So I started by printing this image onto Transotype perfect coloring paper, and actually I did it twice. You will see later on why, but here you have only a tiny part, a tiny piece of paper with only the image. I will cut it out using my scissors, and so I don't know if you recall or if I said it ever here, but I really love those swirly lines that Rachelle Anne Miller adds, and it's really hard, however, to fussy cut, and I am not an expert in fussy cutting, so normally I tend to do one layer cards. But in the past I had a card that sort of started failing, but then I ended up cutting it out right against the edge, my colored in image, and that worked out so great as a solution that today I decided to do that on purpose. So here I'm coloring the image and then I will cut it out right up the edge, and then the other image that I printed will be on the background, and that will help me to still have all those swirly lines without having to try to fussy cut them out as well. So that you will see later on, but first the coloring. So as I said, Transotype perfect coloring paper, and I'm using my Copic markers and I'm coloring from darkest to lightest. I'm going back and forth whenever I need, but most of the time I need to go at least twice over every part of the images. Now whenever it's a really tiny image, I might stop after one layer just because it's enough, but normally I tend to use at least 2 layers. So here I have all my neutrals that I started with. I also started, as always, with the skin and hair because I find that the hardest part. But as you will see, I am reusing quite a lot of colors. Like these colors here for the backpack are the same as the hair. Part of it is the same as the bear. So you will also see it if you want to revisit the colors that I used without checking the whole video again, then definitely go to my blog post. There I have everything listed for each part of the images, and you will see that a lot returns. So this card actually was the birthday card for a colleague of mine, and it was a really funny story. Somebody contacted me on Instagram, but I didn't see it because, well, we weren't following each other. Well, I wasn't following him yet. He isn't the card maker, and I'm mostly focused on card makers on Instagram. It's not the tool where I spread all of my personal life. It's just the creations and hoping to connect with other crafters. That's my Instagram account. So, well, I didn't reply because he was he asked to be able to send me a message, and I didn't see it because you don't get notifications of that. And so I didn't saw it until the week before the birthday of my colleague, and it was a friend apparently from overseas, from the Philippines, and he studied here in Belgium apparently, and that's how they met. But he wanted to send my colleague a card. Well, he asked 3 weeks in advance. I didn't see it until a week in advance. So, and then I started looking for whatever I could make for my colleague, and he mentioned another card from Rachelle Anne Miller that I made. It was with the sisters digital stamp, and he really liked that, but of course he wanted to have something that represents friends and not sisters or girls. So I went looking on the Rachelle Anne Miller side, and I found this one as being the most suited for just the occasion. I love this one. I already colored it again once, and I had a lot of fun coloring it. I think there are a lot of details in this digital stamp, but at the same time they are subtle. Like the paper here, that there are some drawings on there. I don't find that you need to color them all. You can, but I tend to just have it as a neutral plain. And so I suggested this digital stamp, and he was over the moon with the design. And so there I started with a card. So that's also my color choices. In the past, I saw one of the little ones as a boy and the other one as a girl. You can definitely switch it up if you want to, and that's the fun about this one as well. But he loved it, and I started on the card, you know. Also, the sisters was the one that failed, and where I had to cut it out and then add it to a background with the others with the other digital again on there. So that's how I came up on this idea of just having one image colored in, and I'm just going to snip off all of these swirly lines. I'm not taking them into account, but once I lay the plane on top of the other one, you will still see those swirly lines. And I forgot a part to cut it off, but I will later on. So that was that, and then I needed to figure out my background. So this panel is an A2 size, and I decided to add a bit of cracked pistachio all over the edges of this card to just have a bit of a glow, but really subtle. Also, cracked pistachio is a color that always works. I love it. It's my favorite distressing color still. And although there are new colors released, I stick to this one. This one stays my favorite so far. So here you see me going back and forth quite lightly, and if I want to, I can go over it again. Now I cut this panel out using Waffle Flowers A2 layers die. It's a really handy die with lots of A2 sizes and smaller things. I also cut the frame out using the two largest frames, well, A2 layers, and this way I got a frame. Then for the sentiment, I am using the Happy Birthday Words die from Hello Bluebird. A wonderful basic. I love the script of the birthday and the happy being neat and tidy and stuff like that. So I wanted the happy to have the same blue color as the edges of my card. So therefore I just blended the cracked pistachio on top of the paper. Cut out the happy, and then for the birthday I cut it out twice of just white cardstock. So I'm going to adhere these two together. It's a swirly birthday and it's a bit fragile, so I wanted to add it on top of each other to already make it a bit more sturdy, and that will also help me get it in place how it was intended. So the dot, I also, well, the tittle dot, I don't know, I added it together. It was a bit fiddling because, well, it didn't line up exactly. It's not round completely, so well. And then I have all of my pieces ready here. So then it's time to adhere everything. I started with my frame, just some liquid glue, and I added it on top of my panel. Then I decided to add the image, but here I saw that I forgot to trim off a part. So I just quickly did that, and then I could add all of these thin foam squares on there. And I truly filled it up completely, as always. And once I removed the backings, I had to just line it up exactly where the image was still there on my panel, which is really handy actually. If you know your placement, you can always also print it like this and then just make sure to cover it all with the images that you colored in. But this way you have the swirly lines. So whatever I snipped off with my scissors, it will be visible just because it's in the background. And I love that. Now for the happy, I just had to add it as straight as possible. That was really important, and then I could add the birthday underneath. I just had to figure out where exactly to place everything, and then I could, well, with a ruler, get everything straight. If I wanted to, I could also have used some present seal to help me first align everything and then lift it up and add it on top of my panel, but this triangle helps me as well. So I started with the outer letters. This way I could sort of have it centered, and then I based the other letters on the outside letters. So I just worked my way in towards that second P to have it all sort of spaced out correctly and just have it straight as well. I didn't grab any tweezers here, but reverse tweezers would have been handy. I was just too lazy to look for it in my drawer, but that would have been handy. Now for the birthday, I wanted it to have a slight overlap, but not too much. But therefore I did use my tweezers because it was just a bit too tiny and small to do it while I was holding it myself. So there we go. I tapped it off on well, the leftover paper of my thin foam squares, just to avoid all of that glue to ooze from underneath my birthday. And then I shouldn't forget the title either, so I added that as well. And then I could adhere this panel on top of a card base. Once I did that, I still wanted to add a bit more. It's a birthday card for my colleague, I mean, and I just found it so sweet that someone from overseas contacted me to create a card while not knowing me, but just liking what I made. So I was so happy I could do this, and I found the time to do it. So I added some bubbles. These are from Little Things from Lucy's cards, and I just added them all around this panel. I didn't go overboard with them because I love the simplicity and I love the swirly lines of the image itself. I don't want to distract too much. But once I was happy with placement, I adhered everything with some liquid glue. And then if you want to, you can always add some glossy accents or stickles or anything like that. But I thought that this was just enough embellishments for my card. So I left it like this, and I couldn't be happier with the card. The one who asked me to make this card was also really excited, and the day of the birthday of my colleague, he's living in the same city, I posted it, and so he got it on the Sunday, and he was really happy with it because he sent me a text on his birthday in the weekend. So I was so happy with the end result and with the reactions that I got. So I'm happy to share it today with you, and I hope that you like this card as well, that you enjoyed the video. I want to thank you all for stopping by, and I wish you an incredible day. I'll be back soon with some new craft inspiration. Bye!